I wasn't quite sure what to talk about for a log, but I wanted to make one just because I've been making it a habit to make these logs. So I just had the camera up for a few seconds, and I was contemplating what I talk about, but I've got an idea. Today I plan to make a final decision, which I still haven't done yet, but that's fine. No, sorry. I plan to make a final decision on whether I want to do the apprenticeship and part-time work or the apprenticeship and full-time work. This has been a decision that's been on my mind, especially recently, potentially these past couple of days, since a job opportunity that I think is full-time, part-time, all that stuff, has gotten back to me, and they said that they asked me if I was ready to have a chat or go to their place to go have a chat, and I asked them if they could give me a ring, said day, said time, to which I'm not sure if they've responded. I didn't see anything in my emails, but I don't mind. And I'm still not sure as to what I should do. My main reason to do that full-time job with the apprenticeship, even though it could make it more difficult to do the apprenticeship because of how many hours I'll be doing, would be for money. I'm trying to save up to move out, and to move out for good. Now, today, in fact, I actually came up with a very specific number that I want to have in the bank balance, which would be constantly getting replenished by more than one source of income before moving out. Not necessarily by a specific date, I didn't come up with a date, but that would be, at least at this point, one of the main motivators for why I do that over the part-time work, which would mean I give myself more space to have more than one, or more than, more than two sources of income. So I'd be able to build some other stuff there. Now, that might actually really help, because if I do some part-time with the apprenticeship and try and create some passive sources of income with that space I'll be giving myself, I'll be making it a lot easier to not need a job. A lot easier. Whereas with full-time work, I might be making it a lot more difficult, and I might be rushing, or I'd be making it more, I'd be potentially increasing the chances of which I rush trying to make passive sources of income so that I don't need a job and I can still live financially healthily. So that if, for whatever reason, because feelings, my manager fires me, or my manager, I am the boss of me, I think, but in that job role, I'd be considered the employee, and they'd be considered the manager. So within that context, the manager would fire me. They can just fire me off feelings, and for whatever reason, really, they genuinely could say, well, I didn't like what you're wearing today, you're fired. They can. I mean, no one's stopping them. Anyone can say anything, regardless of how irrational it might seem, or regardless of how prejudiced it might be, regardless of how kind, how helpful someone could see it as. Anyone could say anything. Now, that's not to say that certain things, saying certain things in certain places won't come with consequences. Anyone can say anything, even if it's gibberish. They can say that. I think it's just, even though people might say that it's a steady income, I don't think so, because someone can fire you just because of feelings that could be completely unrelated to the job, but because of how they were feeling about that thing that was completely unrelated to you, which you have no control over, they could fire you. And therefore, if you had that as your only source of income and you're out and you're renting a property, you might be scrambling for rent for next month, and the ability to just have shelter, to have that shelter you've been living in with the help of what you might have considered a steady income, is for some reason just brashly left. And now you might be scrambling for work. I'm not interested in that. That's too much. I think giving anyone that sort of power could be very, very, very destructive. Because it'd be you that's on the receiving end of that. And you that would, on the premise that you haven't got other opportunities elsewhere, would be scrambling for work to pay rent and bills for next month, or for that month that you got fired on, maybe. It's too unreliable. So actually, in fact, now that I say that, I might be leaning more toward the part-time side, so that I'd have the apprenticeship going on, and then have the part-time stuff going on, and then in between that space, I'd be able to build myself up with other passive, not active, but passive forms of income from there. I actually like the sound of that option, rather than making it more difficult for myself to do as I say I want to do with improving my financial health. Now, with having full-time work, it still would be possible, but I might be making it unnecessarily difficult for myself to do that, especially in this situation I'm currently in which I'm living rent-free. So this ability, or this opportunity, can be easy to do, but if I do go about it with the part-time way over the full-time way, I might take a lot longer than I might have wanted to move out, and move out for good. However, because I would have taken longer, that might actually, on a long-term basis, be more helpful, because seeing as it would have taken longer, it would have been more sustainable. At this point, I'm starting to lean more to the part-time stuff, because I could do a lot with the space that I give myself with the apprenticeship and the part-time stuff. I could do a lot. I could build up. I could give myself a lot of space to think and come up with ideas for how I could build passive and active forms of income. And that ability is no joke, especially it could be extremely helpful. And I still agree with what I just said. That's very hope inducing. It really is no joke, in my opinion. I could, with that space I'd be giving myself with the apprenticeship and the part-time stuff, I could do all the other income stuff that I would have planned to do, and then I can cap at what I think would be excessive. Although selling books, for example, they might be something I'd have to manage. It'd be something I'd be willing to manage, because I'd be making books about things I'm genuinely interested in, not just open, like diaries, journals and that, where you just got lines for pages. But I'll be able to make my own books. and they would be from a qualified place, which perhaps not many people can do. Like, there's so many sources of information that I could use to create my own books from there. And not only that, but I could go out my way to come up with other sources of income, like do a photo shoot, for example, and then from there, as a form of accountability to get in shape, and then from there I could look for opportunities where they'd be looking for people to like advertise their clothing, or get connections for people that want their clothing advertised by people that are in shape. Get their clothing advertised by people that they consider look attractive, so that when people look at their clothes, they associate it with attraction, with this idea that sex sells, very, very basically. Although I wouldn't go out my way to wear revealing clothing or anything like that. I just have a nice looking face and some muscles here and there on the arms and the legs. But other than that, I'd just be the shell. However, isn't that what modelling is? The primary focus is the clothes, not the person. Although clothing companies might think that having someone that would be considered ugly or unattractive would make the clothes look that way as well, because of how the clothes would fit around that person. For example, if they're overweight or morbidly obese. But if it's just what would be considered to be an unattractive face, that's of course a different story, because it's not their body from the neck down. That would be considered unattractive, or just straight up unhealthy. I'm feeling more at peace with this idea. I think I could try it out. And really, really, really go out my way to push forward with having more money, not only to move out for good, but to get the money in ways I want. I think it'd be like very, very, very possible and sustainable doing part-time level 2 instructor work rather than full-time instructor work, even though at first that is going to mean that I'd be sacrificing the ability to have more money coming in instantly, basically. Because of the role I'd be taking on, it'd be just it'd be a basic minimum wage part-time job, along with the bare minimum wage on the apprenticeship as well. It would be bare minimum for income, but I'd be able to start learning how to handle my finances in a sustainable way with that amount of money, which I might consider little, but it's not the most I would have ever had coming in at once. But I'd be building up. It'd be a slow incline up with some ups and downs, of course, just as with any other thing. Like with my physical health, for example, I've put on some body fat. The lowest body fat percentage I got to was in May. I'll put some back on because of how I've been eating. It's not gonna always be just straight up, but that's fine. Yeah, I like the idea of that, and I feel more comfortable with the decision I've made, so that when I do move out, I move out for good. With this way of going with the apprenticeship and part-time, and going out my way to build up on other sources of income, so that way I don't need that job whatsoever, and I'm okay, and no one's feelings threatens my ability to survive and have shelter, have food, have clothing. No more of that. Even though my parents said they'd never do it, my dad in the past has threatened homelessness upon me. He's asked me in a rhetorical way or something like that, do you want to be homeless, in an argument as I was walking up the stairs. No, I'm not having that again. situations like those just really have stuck in my mind, and with them in mind, I'm definitely not gonna just let someone threaten my living situation because feelings. Not gonna happen. I think I'll end the video there because I feel pretty comfortable with the decision I've made, because I really feel comfortable with how I'm going to move forward. I think I'll be making more money than I ever would have, and I also think with this way, give myself space to get myself together outside of the part-time work and the apprenticeship. I'd be giving myself a plenty of space, the space I'd need to be able to manage my finances in a healthy way and really improve my financial health to a point where I might have to start thinking of moving from tax band A to tax band B, who knows? Meaning I'd be earning 40 grand, over 40 grand a year. Who knows? It's absolutely more than possible. In the words of Elon Musk, if I remember correctly, there's no shortage of money. It's just that I'd really be needed to give myself the space to get it together. Although it might seem slow is sustainable. Even if sometimes you could be putting more work in than we actually are. Yeah, that's it. I wanted to go back to the comment I made about that. He's not necessarily the most pleasant of human beings. There certainly is worse out there, but it's true, he has, and we've all, in my opinion, have our places where we haven't been the most pleasant of people to speak around, myself included, or to be around and to speak to, myself included. Not that that necessarily justifies the fact that he as a parent said that to me and genuinely has that power to enforce that over me and to my life situation. I'm just saying it because it's true. Like, my mum and or dad can threaten my living situation and drastically worsen my quality of life because feelings that they could have gained within seconds or days, weeks, months or years. And because I'm an adult now and they don't necessarily have to be responsible for me and giving me shelter, but I could just get kicked out and I'd just have to accept it. No way I would. But yeah, that's just not a situation I'm ever going to put myself in again. Past this point, that's it. I'm going to make sure that I'm more than healthy so that if I were to get fired, I'm okay and I don't need to worry. I'm fine. And those sorts of situations, even though they happened, and even though I could say that that was unfair and make myself feel angry from that, those situations, they've happened and they're gonna happen with both family, for example, and maybe even friends. Who knows? But anyway, I'm done. I feel much more at peace. Not happy, but at peace with the decision I've made. I now have a solid way forward for how I wanna go from now on. So on that note, I'm done. Cheers to moving forward in life in a healthy way. Peace. By the way, I have I've got an appointment tomorrow for my coaching, and then I've got to go straight to the job centre to go to my appointment that I booked over for the universal credit claim, which I went 1 week early to, and now that I know how to book appointments with my coach Alex, we can go from there and really zoom past, like zoom with the progress with getting that apprenticeship and actually finally starting to have money come in. I know I want to go in that direction, so I think I should speed things up, because if not, I might be taking things too slow. I need some way to pay for my gym membership, and the apprenticeship would be just that. And then eventually the part-time work, if on the premise they take me, I'd be going there as well. But yeah, I just forgot about them. Is there anything else to say? Nah, that's it. Those are the only things I wanted to say. Alright. Now I'm really gone. Peace.